to have an NFL kick. Let's say hello to Indy Roy in Texas. Hello, Indy Roy.
Hey, I've been hearing you and Brady talking about Dak Prescott. I wanted to explain why Dak should accept the Cowboys offer that's on the table now instead of waiting later to pursue free agency.
Sure, go ahead.
I posted a video on my YouTube channel at PFGMRx right after the Carson Wentz contract was signed, and I explained that then I would offer Dak a 5-year, $145 million contract with $85 million guaranteed, even though I just ranked Dak 14th best quarterback last year, looking at their statistics. Dak is going to be paid only $2 million this season. He got about $750,000 last season.
Right.
So if he would take this offer, making essentially $29 million this season, that would be a raise of $27 million.
You're talking about the offer that you proposed.
Right. Well, I'm just, we were talking about throwing out some numbers, and you were like, well, he's got to start at 30. I'm like, well, let's say, just choosing some arbitrary numbers here. If I gave him $29 million, that's $27 million more than he's going to make this season. And that's cash in his pocket. Mm-hmm. Or he could wait to become a free agent and hope that a team pays him $32 million next season. So the difference between that $32 million and the $29 million is $5 million. So he would have to wait till the end of that 5 years, and he would only have $25 million recouped out of that $27 million that he would have right now. So to me, getting it done now is, more in his best interest. And it also allows the optics of I'm taking one for the team so that we can sign the other players around me.
Well, I'm not saying you don't make a plausible argument. I think there's a lot of logical arguments that can be applied to why it's in his best interest to take a deal that maybe not what he thinks he deserves. But again, when agents get involved and when egos get involved and when you see what others got and you stack your record up against them, it's not always driven by what you think is logical. And I understand your argument that you think he's 14th best in the league. But nobody negotiates a deal based on where they fit in the league. Kirk Cousins isn't the best quarterback in the league, but he got paid like it when he signed his deal with Minnesota. Carson Wentz certainly hasn't proven yet, despite the one season that put him on an MVP track, that he's the best quarterback in the league. Now, he didn't get that money, but he certainly got paid like one of the best. So I'm not sitting here. I can sit here and accept your argument. But I don't know what Dak is thinking, and I don't know what his agent is thinking. And I do know this. In a league where it's driven by who signs last, signs best, I use that term all the time. If you want to get a deal done, it may cost you more in the short term. It will cost you less in the long term. The sooner you get it done than later. And I'm just going to sit here and ask you this. If the deal that you proposed is given to Dak Prescott, and he doesn't like your deal, what do you do if you're the Dallas Cowboys? Do you sweeten it, or do you go, we think that's reasonable, we're not budging off of that?
I would say that was reasonable, and then pay him his $2 million this year that he's under contract, and then renegotiate a franchise tag.
And you want, which you have every right to do. Now, I think you've got to be careful with how you use that tag, because you've said there are other players you want to sign. Jalen Smith, obviously Byron Jones. The more flexibility you have with that tag, the greater likelihood of keeping a second good player in your building. And if you believe he's your franchise quarterback, do you want to go down that path the same way the Washington Redskins did, which may make it unsignable at some point in the future?
The franchise tag would be to get him back to the renegotiation table, see what the market brings next season. Meanwhile, I've already got him on my contract. And that also buys me another year to find his replacement.
All right, but let me just say one thing. The franchise tag, which you say gives you another year to negotiate, is a dangerous thing to play. Once you tag a guy, that's where they start. That's where they want the conversation to start, and that is a big number. That's the danger. That's exactly what happened to Washington. Kirk Cousins, if you're his agent, you go, well, you're paying me this. If you want me back next year, it's going to cost you this times 120%. So let's start there, and that may be a number that is far more than you're willing to put on the table right now. So you have to decide if you're willing to play that game and go back into the quarterback business in 2 years.
Okay, so this is Roy Pickett here at PFGMRx. This is my YouTube channel. Glad to have you here. That was me talking on Sirius XM Radio about Dak Prescott. And I just wanted to kind of give you some visual evidence to see that $29 million per season is not going to be an insult to Dak Prescott. I mentioned that I had him ranked 14th in my personal quarterback rankings. You can see that YouTube. I posted that a couple months ago. Here I got him just below Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz was ranked below the other 12 quarterbacks here because of his injury concerns. But when he's on the field, he performs pretty well. But the impetus is on him to stay healthy and be on the field. Dak Prescott, his value is the fact that he's able to be on the field for 16 games in the season and playing every snap of every game. He was still the 14th best, which is just above the top half. Here's my offers to Dak Prescott. If I could get him on a 3-year deal, I'd be okay with that for about $27.6 million. 4 years at 28. 5 years is the one that I'm really kind of focused on here, with the $29 million average salary on my cap hit. I would be willing to say, this is a $145 million contract with $85 million guaranteed. It's not as much as what Matt Ryan got, but Matt Ryan is higher ranked on my rankings as far as his ability to throw the ball. Kirk Cousins, people want to say, well, he's being paid like a top quarterback. He was a top quarterback. He made $28 million, so I'm paying Dak more than that. He got $84 million guaranteed, so I'm going to guarantee $85 million to Dak Prescott. People want to throw out Jimmy Garoppolo. He got a 5-year deal where he was averaging $27.4 million with $74 million guaranteed, and he got injured and has been unable to be on the field to show whether or not he's actually worth that. So the last 2 big deals were Russell Wilson and Carson Wentz, who basically got extensions. They're not new contracts. They didn't go into free agency. Their team said, hey, this is how much we value you, and this is what we want to give you. Russell Wilson is an elite quarterback. Carson Wentz, like I said, he's right there with Dak Prescott simply because he can't stay healthy. The Eagles are betting on that he can stay healthy. That's why they let Nick Foles go. So if you want to look into the total, Russell Wilson's getting 140, Carson Wentz is getting 128. I'm saying I'll give Dak 145 total. But people don't really pay much attention to that total number. That's more for your casual fan. Everybody wants to look at the guaranteed money. So Russell Wilson's making $65 million guaranteed over 4 years. Carson Wentz is getting $66.5 million fully guaranteed. There are some escalators that are probably achievable for Carson Wentz that he could make up to $107 million in guaranteed money. However, that's if he stays healthy. So the Eagles weren't stupid when they wrote his contract. They were trying to get him to take less hits, run the ball less, slide when there's a big man coming at him, going to take his head off. But the actual fully guaranteed money for Carson Wentz was $66.5. So I feel like an $85 million fully guaranteed contract to Dak Prescott is more than fair. One of the things that I mentioned during my discussion on SiriusXM was the 2018 playoff quarterbacks and what their salary caps were. You have Andrew Luck, my favorite quarterback, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, and Phillip Rivers. These are proven veterans who are making their second contracts or third contracts or even fourth contracts that hit their teams about 13.7 to 12.4% of the cap. The other 6, Goff, Wentz, Trubisky, Mahomes, Watson, Lamar Jackson, and Dak Prescott, with his low $730,000 that he made last year, also got their teams into the playoffs. But they were all on rookie contracts and under 4% of their salary cap hit, with Dak being 0.4% for the Cowboys. Now you want to start throwing big numbers out there, like, well, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's making a lot of money. Stafford, Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, a lot of people consider to be the best quarterback in the league. Alex Smith and Matt Ryan. Well, Garoppolo and Alex Smith both got hurt, so their teams were spending big money on quarterbacks that didn't play. you look at these non-quarterback or the non-playoff quarterbacks that got paid $24 million a year, which was about 13.5% of their salary cap, their teams didn't make the playoffs. So just because somebody spends a lot of money on a quarterback doesn't necessarily make that a good decision. So here's what I'm trying to explain to anyone that will listen. Dak Prescott is on the last year of his contract. He doesn't get a fifth-year option. This is it. So either you renegotiate and sign, or you just get your $2 million at the last year of your contract. If there's a team out there that wants to bet on him, like Jacksonville's betting on Nick Foles, and give him a big contract, let's say he was able to get $34 million as an average. So that's more than Carson Wentz money, who's averaging $32 million. So if you say he's going to get $2 million this year, and then next year he'll sign a 5-year contract where he's making $34 million a year. You look that out, at the end of 2023, he would have made $172 million. So $34 million sounds like a lot more than $29 million. And it's like an ego thing. However, if you make $29 million this year, that's $27 million more in a single year right now. So if you were to just take out that 5-year contract that I'm wanting to give him to 2022, and then by the end of that contract, if the market continues to go up, the salary cap continues to go up, I would not be surprised if Dak was to make a $38 million contract starting in 2023. So the difference between what he's going to decline in order to make $34 million a year in 2019 versus accepting and making $29 million a year now would be $11 million difference after 5 years. That's assuming that Jason Garrett doesn't get fired, or they decide that they don't want to be spending 15 to 17% of the salary cap on a average quarterback, and they decide that they're going to draft a younger, newer version. You think this doesn't happen in the NFL? Look at Joe Flacco. He bet on himself, and he made a lot of money with the Ravens after winning the Super Bowl. And then the Ravens determined that Joe Flacco really wasn't cutting the mustard, and so they went out and they got Lamar Jackson. So last year, Joe Flacco, after signing his big contract, was making $22 million to sit on the bench and watch Lamar Jackson run left, run right, and take the Ravens into the playoffs. So the concern that I would have with Dak betting on himself is he's going to be making $34 million a year, and he's not providing $34 million worth of production. He might find himself on the outside looking in. Whereas at a smaller salary cap hit, the $29 million a year might keep him employed so they could actually get to the end of his contract and sign a new one. That pretty much concludes my video. I'm not going to be talking about Dak Prescott anymore until he signs his contract, because this is kind of a long, drawn-out saga, and I'm just tired talking about it. Thank you for enjoying this video. Please like and subscribe. Just so you know, I will be having my book being published. It's going to the publishers this week, and I hope that you will take the time to read it. Thank you.